I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. That's a quote from William Wordsworth, one of the most famous Romantic poets. He published that poem, commonly called The Daffodils, in 1807, just as the Romantic movement in literature was beginning to take hold. Beautiful descriptions such as these were common in the writings of the Romantics, and as with this poem, many glorified the beauty and fragility of nature. When we think of these great poets, I'm sure many of us think of them sitting in cottages, looking out on beautiful sunny fields, perhaps with an artistically placed oak tree at the center. And although pastoral scenes like those we imagine may have inspired these poets to write their greatest works, we oftentimes forget that there was more to the world than just cottages and oak trees. In London, the first factory had sprung up 20 years earlier, and by the time The Daffodils was finished, the entire population of London would have been burning raw coal to keep warm, shrouding the city in a permanent muck-colored fog. This industrialized, sullied new image of the future was worlds away from the peaceful countryside in which the Romantics wrote and lived. So if that was the case, you'd expect the vast majority of the Romantics' poems to be about nature, and you'd be right, to a point. Although many of their most famous works were in the same vein as the Daffodils, there were countless other poems that were not. Take, for example, Wordsworth's poem, In London, September 1802. No grandeur now in nature or in book delights us. Rapine, avarice, expense, this is idolatry, and these we adore. Plain living and high thinking are no more. The Romantics clearly weren't confined to their cottages. So why, then, are almost all of the Romantics' most famous poems about nature? It's a simple fact that most of their best works included the beautiful descriptions that they're best known for. Perhaps the answer to this strange conundrum can be found in a poem written by Percy Shelley, a later Romantic and a follower of Wordsworth. Although his poem Song to the Men of England's angry lines don't explicitly talk about the environment, the feeling conveyed in lines such as, Men of England, wherefore plough for the lords that lay ye low, echoes Wordsworth In London, September 1802. This explosive, fiery passion was what allowed them to write such beautiful descriptions, in fact. They were the environmentalists and the social activists of their age, fighting against a river of change that was flowing past them. Without the filthy, stinking, smoggy London that exploded into being just before the 19th century, that passion would never have existed. There would be no reason to view the beautiful fields as so precious as they did. So perhaps, instead of shunning the smoggy London skies that contrasted so strongly with the Romantics' more pleasant subject matter, we should remember them for their crucial part in spawning some of the best writers the world has ever seen.